Strikeforce. Miesha Tate versus Ronda Rousey. Paul Daly had some fights outside of Strikeforce, but his last fight, I'm only going to focus on the fights he had in Strikeforce. Um, the last fight he had in Strikeforce was against Tyrone Woodley. He lost that fight, a decision loss. It's just a classic tale of great striker having problems fighting a ground guy, and that's just the way it is with a lot of good strikers. They just have problem with these wrestlers or whatever. Um, Now the the name of this Asian guy I may not pronounce correctly, so excuse me if I do. I believe his name is. I'm going to try to pronounce his last name. Misa Masaki, whatever. Masaki. Paul Daly versus Masaki. First round. Daly with a very hard leg kick. Masaki with a left hand. Daly throws a kick and Masaki takes him down. Daly does manage to get on up. Masaki keeps working the clinch and does get some knees in. Masaki is with a very nice flurry that involves some nice punches and kicks. Now Masaki puts him against the cage and opens up with a very nice flurry that is mostly blocked, but scores well. Daly scores with a takedown now, and round ends. Masaki wins that round 10-9 on the scorecards. Second round, Masaki keeps being the one to apply the pressure here. Good knee by Masaki. Daly lost. Left looks lost. Left hook lands for Daly. Finally, but Masaki takes it well. Hand jab by Daly lands by a jab lands by Masaki. Now one by Daly. Daly with another takedown now, and he throws an elbow. Daly with punches to the body and occasional punch to the head ends up taking the back. Daly tries to get his hooks in, and Masaki swings him around and ends up on top now. Left hand by Daly. Close. That was a very close round for both fighters. Third round, Daly landed some good left hooks and a jab. This round was now a double, now a big double leg. Nice elbow by Daly. Elbow by Daly opens a big cut on Mizaki's face. It's just pouring blood. That is was a very deep cut. The officials, they allow the fights to continue, though they're back to the stand-up. Daly fakes the takedown and lands a nice hook. Head kick lands for Daly. Masaki eats it and throws a right hand out there. Masaki misses with a wild hook. Jab by Daly, body. Kick by Masaki. Daly with a takedown, but Masaki pops back up. Daly can't get the takedown again. Jab by Daly. The end of that round. The official scorecards was 30-27 Masaki, 29-28 Daly, and Masaki wins by split decision. Oh, I'm sorry. The last score was 29-28. Masaki wins. Paul Daly, I feel it's only a matter of time before he's on his way out of the Strikeforce. Just like the UFC, and it has nothing to do with what he said or what he did to Josh Koscheck in the UFC. It has more to do with Dana White having double standard for certain fighters. Basically, Paul Daly is going to get kicked out of Strikeforce because he's not necessarily on a great winning streak right now. He's a good fighter, but he's not on a. See, if he was winning, it would be hard to get rid of the guy, but he's not. So I think Paul Daly time is limited with the um, Sufa company, but yeah, it's only a matter of time for Paul Daly is let go and cut out of Strike Force. Like I said, I think that incident with Josh Koscheck was unfortunate. I'm not condoning what Paul Daly did. It was very stupid, bad thing to do. But I think Dana White also set an unreasonable um, precedent, because you're going to have a lot of young guys coming to MMA that's going to do things like that, punch after the bell, um, hit after, the breakup or whatever. I think, honestly, I think Paul Daly is was kicked out the UFC and is going to get kicked out of Strikeforce because he talked back to Dana White. That's plain and simple. When Dana White was mad anyway, and he should be. But anytime your boss chew you out, you don't talk back to him, and it was heated. I listened to it in an interview, and Paul Daly said that he basically cursed Dana White out, and I think that's what got him kicked out of the organization. Not very smart. I don't know why he did that, but I think it's a double standard, because if it was one of the UFC stars, Paul Daly would still probably be in the UFC. Um, KJ Noons, Josh Thompson. Um, I'm only going to do the third round. Um, KJ is trying to come forward and make something happen here. Uppercut by Noons, and he slips to the mat, and Thompson gets the takedown and has a tight arm triangle choke. Noons does manage to get out of the choke, though Thompson still holding it. Noons trying to get up. How Thompson is pretty happy on top. Hammer fist from Thompson. Round ends. The official scorecard was 29-28 across the board. Josh Thompson for the win by unanimous decision. What's next for KJ Noons? I don't know. Of course, a loss is a setback. The cliche that fighters like to use is going back to the drawing board. He probably will. I don't know what's next for the guy. I'm about to discuss the Miesha Tate versus Ronda Rousey's fight. Excuse me. But before I discuss that fight, I want to make a little comment, a little statement before I address that fight. You see, I'm always blown away by the lack of respect shown by men concerning women athletes. Even men you would consider liberal openly trash female athleticism. I hear and read of the most unfair commentary about women's MMA. Some people are actually saying that the striking was pretty bad, and that was true. Now, that may be true, yet I don't hear that kind of criticism for male MMA fighters. I mean, you have to be honest, I've been watching MMA for years now, and I would tell you that decent striking is lacking among the men fighters, MMA fighters as well. I think we can at least acknowledge that these women are true athletes. Even if you're not a fan of women's sport, I am not ashamed to admit I like the competitive spirit of these two women that fought. Uh, what a is you know what's funny to me is that you have these dudes out here trashing these women or whatever, and I guarantee a lot of these guys are couch potatoes that spend all day watching other people perform athletic feats, and yet they won't participate in any kind of athletic behavior. So it's you have a lot of fat guys, that just stuffing their face with potato chips, trashing these women, and 9 times out of 10, um, especially the way men are nowadays, I believe a lot of these women probably will beat a lot of these guys' butts. So people should just show these girls a little respect. They earn it. Miesha Tate is a tough lady. Um, I read some more articles. I have to check back with you guys to tell you the update on her arm. But I've read somewhere that her arm wasn't broken. That may have been some fractures or whatever. I also heard that it was dislocated. So I don't have all the facts as of yet. But when I get those facts, I will relate them to you guys. Um, the Strike Force card was pretty good. Miesha Tate versus Ronda Rousey. Let's get into the fight. Um, they don't touch gloves. You know why they don't touch gloves? Because they don't like each other. Miesha Tate comes out hard and fast, and she actually lands some good punches. I think she came out that hard like that and kind of trying to knock out Ronda Rousey because she doesn't, of course she don't appreciate um, all the Rousey has been bad mouthing her, so Rousey, um, anyway, they don't touch gloves. Rousey is with a quick takedown. She moves to side control. Rousey steps over to get side control again. An armbar attempt by Rousey, and a Tate survives it. It looks bad, but she survived it. Tate was on top, but Rousey stood up. Tate has the back now, and she's takes her down. Rousey gets free and stands. Rousey almost spikes her head to the ground. She had like actually had like Tate on her back, if I remember from memory correctly, and she like fell down, like almost like spiking Tate's head into the ground. Into the canvas. Tate escapes and is on top now. Punched by Rousey and a few leg kicks. Rousey takes the back down. Um, Rousey takes her back. Excuse me. They trade punches as they stand. Hip toss by Rousey. It's sort of like a judo throw or whatever. Rousey moves to mount and lands some punches now to back control punches, and takes the arm bar. Tate arm is in all kind. It just looked pretty bad. Like I said, Miesha Tate is tough. I believe she did an interview one time with a broken nose when she was wrestling. I believe in high school or college. Excuse me if I'm incorrect, but I believe that they said she broke her leg when she was wrestling, and if I personally, I know that Miesha Tate is a tough girl, but she will have to be some kind of warrior if her arm was broken, and her standing there after the announcements and not crying or holding her arm. Then again, maybe her arm was numb from I know sometimes sudden shock and sudden trauma. Sometimes you're numb and you don't feel it until the next day. But she wasn't, even though I think her arm may be hurt, I don't know if it was actually snapped or broken, because after when they did the announcements and the referee stood in between both of the fighters, she did not look that bad. She wasn't grimacing. She wasn't in pain. She wasn't crying. She wasn't waving back and forth in pain. So I'm kind of doubting the break. Um, the arm being broken. But yeah, that's the card for Strike Force Miesha Tate versus Ronda Rousey. This is a pretty good, decent card. Um, yeah, I think you guys out there need to take it easy on the ladies. They they earn my respect. It was a good fight, and I was entertained. If you like this video, if you enjoyed it, keep coming back, because I will be making more. Thank you for listening, and peace.